Welcome to today's Explainer. We're doing a little time travel today. Nothing crazy, no time machine needed. We're just using the fundamental building blocks of the English language. Today, we're diving into the simple past of the verb to be, specifically the words was and were. Now, I know grammar can sometimes feel like a daunting list of rules to memorize, but I promise you, by the end of our time together, you're going to see this as a highly logical system. It literally unlocks your ability to tell stories, share memories, and describe the world exactly as it used to be. Listen to this sentence right from our source material. The Beatles were famous in the 1960s. Just by swapping out one single word from the present tense to the past, we instantly transport whoever is listening back half a century. We aren't talking about today anymore. We're firmly anchored in a totally different era. And that is the true power of mastering the past tense of to be. It's basically your grammatical passport to the past. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, talking about the past. Second, saying yes with was and were. Third, saying no with wasn't and weren't. And finally, we'll wrap up with questions and short answers. All right, part 1, talking about the past. When exactly do we use it? What's really great about our source material, American English File 1, is how it organizes this. It just neatly categorizes the whole shebang, affirmative, negative, and questions, right next to the specific rules for usage. It's essentially a perfectly clean blueprint for the past tense. So, let's distill that blueprint down to 3 basic administrative rules. Number 1, fundamentally, use was and were to talk about states of being in the past. Simple enough. Number 2, and this is a fantastic trick for sounding more fluent, pair them with past time expressions. You know, words like yesterday, last night, or a specific year, like in 1945. These expressions basically drop an anchor in the past for your listener. And number 3, there is a super specific everyday usage. We always use was or were with the word born. And here is a perfect relatable example of that third rule straight from the text. I was born in Vietnam. You definitely don't say I am born because your birth is a completed event, totally rooted in the past. So the big takeaway here is that whenever you're introducing your origins, you are automatically engaging this exact grammar rule. Moving right along to section 2, saying yes, building affirmative sentences. Now, the real secret sauce to mastering this is recognizing that English practically splits our pronouns into 2 teams. You've got the singular pronouns, I, he, she, and it, and they are a total package deal. They exclusively pair up with was. Then you have the plural pronouns we and they, plus the ever-versatile you, and they strictly pair with were. If you can just visualize this split in your mind, honestly, you'll never mess up your subject-verb agreement here. Think of it like a really well-organized filing cabinet. In the first spot, you pick your pronoun. Next, you drop in the correct verb based on that 2-team split we just talked about, and then you just finish your thought. I was there. They were there. It is a rock-solid, incredibly reliable structure. You just pull the files from the right cabinets, line them up, and boom, perfect grammar every single time. Listen to this one. It perfectly illustrates this affirmative rule in action. President Reagan's wife was an actress, so President Reagan's wife is our subject here. She is one person, singular, female, which is the equivalent of she. Therefore, following our clean filing system, we just slot in the word was. She was an actress. It's simple, it's elegant, and it perfectly gets a historical fact across. All right, part 3, saying no, making sentences negative. So technically speaking, to make a sentence negative, you just tack on the word not right after your verb. Was not and were not. But let's be real. In spoken, everyday English, we like to be efficient. We want to speed things up, so we use contractions. Was not becomes wasn't, were not becomes weren't. We literally just smash the 2 words together, drop the O in not, and replace it with an apostrophe. This makes your speaking flow so much faster, and it is exactly how native speakers converse. If we go back to our filing cabinet analogy, you'll see that absolutely nothing about the underlying structure has changed. That binary split of the pronouns is still exactly the same. The only difference, now we've swapped out those positive verbs for our shiny new, highly efficient, contracted negative verbs. I wasn't there. They weren't there. The whole architecture of the sentence holds totally firm. Here's a super practical example from the text, something you might literally hear every single day when a teacher is taking attendance. She wasn't in class yesterday. Look at that. We have our singular pronoun she, our negative contraction wasn't, and that anchor word yesterday locking the whole thought into the past. It is just incredibly useful, practical English.
And that brings us to section 4, questions and short answers, finding out information.
Okay, so to ask a question, we use what I like to call the flip technique. Normally, the person comes first, right? Then the verb, like he was. But to turn that into a question, you literally just physically swap their places. Step 1, you start with a verb. Step 2, you add the person. Step 3, you finish the sentence. So he was famous does a little flip and becomes was he famous? It's a brilliantly simple mechanical move that instantly turns a statement into an inquiry. And the absolute best part is how the question practically hands you the answer. Check this out. If someone asks you a question starting with was, like was he famous, your short answer is going to echo that exact same word. Yes, he was, or no, he wasn't. If the question starts with were, like were they famous, you just mirror it right back. Yes, they were, or no, they weren't. The question itself gives you a grammatical cheat code for the answer. You just have to listen closely for that very first word.
So we've nailed down the rules, we've done the affirmative, the negative, and the all-important flip trick for questions. Now, to wrap up this explainer, I want to toss out one final challenge straight from our text, where were you last night? Notice how that combines a question word, where, with our flip technique and a time expression, last night. So I want you to actually mentally practice this right now. How would you answer that? Think about your pronoun, your verb, and your anchor to the past. Because once you can answer that smoothly, the past is entirely yours to explore. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep practicing.